Hey traders, welcome back to another Sunday video. In this video, my goal is to help prepare you for the week ahead, as well as look for setups on my own in my trading. And I'm going to go through several charts here, so buckle in. Let's go ahead and get started. First thing I want to take a look at is, of course, the dollar. Now, this week, the dollar was all over the place. Now, I'm looking at a daily chart, and you can just see the absolute chaos that was this past week. We're zoomed in and you can see big green candle, red candle, green candle, red candle, green candle, red candle. The dollar could not make up its mind. And you must ask yourself, why is that? Well, what many traders may have noticed is that this past week, there was no NFP. Usually there's an NFP on the first Friday of the month. But NFP, for whatever reason, I actually haven't looked into why the reason is, but next week is NFP. They've put it off by 1 week. I think there's some sort of rules where it's like it has to be a certain number of days into the month. I believe that's correct. But in this particular case, NFP is coming out next Friday. And so this week was a bit of chaos, bit of back and forth, but probably in angst for this overall NFP event coming up in the week ahead. Now, what I'd like to take a look at in terms of the dollar is, through all this chaos, did anything really change? And in my take, looking at the 4-hour chart, the answer is no. The market is still trending to the upside. Things are still looking on their trend following path to be in generally a good spot. Now, in terms of price action, we've also seen higher lows and higher highs overall. So you could say, well, Nick, what about this one? Let me tell you a little something that I do when it comes to my trading. When it comes to trends, I pay more attention in an uptrend to higher lows, and I pay more attention to lower highs in a downtrend, because sometimes in an uptrend, you're going to get pauses where we just have sort of flat lows or flat highs, and then we eventually break out. So what I'm looking at with the dollar is, I would consider the dollar bearish, or at least the trend to have bended, if you will, on a break of this 104.2. So we haven't broken anything yet. And in my view, a pullback even further on the dollar could actually offer some excellent opportunities going into this week ahead of NFP to potentially look to get long some currency pairs reflecting the dollar. And so one trade that I had on this week, which was incredibly frustrating, to be completely honest with you, was dollar yen. I caught an amazing entry right here. Price rallied all the way up to this point, and then I was able to move my stop loss, which was below here, into break even. Well, guess who got hit for break even at the very end of the week? That was me. But that's okay, because at the end of the day, I didn't mind not having a position going into the weekend, as when you do hold over the weekend, you carry that risk premium, if you will, for that potential gap that can occur over the weekend. So regardless, I'm fine with it. I closed out for a small profit there to end the week. And just so you can see what that looks like, this is our Discord channel where I share all of my trade alerts. So this was the initial trade. Other players or other traders in the group may have played dollar yen better. I know a few people who, they chose to take profits. And again, each person in the group has their own particular style. I don't encourage people to just blind copy me. But people in the group, some people were able to get out of this trade sooner than I was, and they probably played it better than I did. Regardless, this was my analysis. I shared it with the group. I put it in the Discord, and then moved my stop loss to break even on March 2nd, that was a Thursday, and then eventually break even was hit before the end of the week. Regardless, if you'd like to join our Discord channel, there is a link down below in the description where you can sign up for premium if you would like access to everything, the trade alerts and everything, or if you just want to try the free one, there's also a free Discord linked in the description as well. You just click that link to go to the website, and there's a link to our Discord on that page. So hope to see some of you guys in there soon. So I'm looking at UJ again this week, and I'm not opposed to the idea of potentially trying to re-enter my trade idea on a retest of this low. Now you might say, well, Nick, why did you just get stopped out for break even to look to get back in again? Well, the reason is, number one, the week was ending, so I didn't want to just take unnecessary risk over the weekend. So I got closed out, took a little bit of profit there. And if price comes back into this zone, we should see a response. And if we do not see a response there, that's where I need to start thinking about stop losses. So for dollar yen, personally, I am looking for a re-entry I'm looking for, again, a stop loss below these lows. If these lows get taken out, then the dollar bullish case that I have is probably no bueno, and I'll be out of the trade. So that is an idea for me going into this week. I like dollar yen long, and let's go into why. So I want to show you guys a seasonality chart, which we talk about often on the channel. If I go to USDJPY, this chart's going to show me, historically speaking, what each month tends to do for each particular asset. Now we're looking at dollar yen. Let's take a look at the last 10-year average, and you can see that March, the month we're in, is historically a positive month for dollar yen. There's a historical tendency or bias to the upside for this month for dollar yen. So that is part of the reason why I'm looking to get long. So that's one reason. There's many other reasons as well. Another reason is that the retail crowd is super short on dollar yen. Take a look at this. This is retail sentiment. We're taking a look at the fact or the stats on how many traders are long, how many traders are short, and you can see 57% of retail traders, a slight bias to the short side on this currency pair. What about big money? Smart money is important always to pay attention to, and so what we can see here is, as of the latest reporting, the Japanese yen is very short biased by institutional money. You can see 73% short range, as well as the dollar being very heavily bought by big money. Hedge funds, banks, institutions are long the dollar, it seems. And so that gives me extra confluence when looking at my chart setup to look for longs. If you're looking at this software and you're like, what the heck is this? If you're newer to my channel, this is the A1 Edge Finder. It's our market scanning software. I own a software company where we build tools for traders. And if you'd like access to this tool, there is also a link down below in the description. And if you use the link that's down there and the promo code, there is a super discounted rate that you can get off if you use code YTVIP down below. And again, that is a subscriber thank you discount if you're interested in using our software. Or if you just want access to the free version, there is a free version available down there as well. It's very limited, but it is still free. So up to you. Gold is the next one I want to take a look at, guys. And gold did something pretty impressive. I have to admit, I did not expect this from gold. We broke out of this range here, this downward structure here to the downside. So you can see if I go indicators on here, just this clean downward motion, right? We short stuff like this. So when we get the reversal, that's usually where we take losses. Fortunately, in this case, though, I was not short gold. And now it seems that we've got some sort of upward trend starting to form. So I'm looking at it, I'm loosely bullish on this one. Though, to be completely honest, I don't think it has much of a bias on the Edge Finder. There's not a lot of stuff I could find on this one. So I'm probably avoiding this chart myself. But from a purely technical analysis perspective, for those of you who only pay attention to technicals, gold looks reasonably healthy, like it could continue a bit on from here. I wouldn't be looking to short it personally. And I personally wouldn't choose to go long, but if you were biased to the upside, at least pay attention to this level. 1845 seems to have been reconquered by the bulls, and retests and continuations could be very interesting to watch out for going into the week ahead. I want to talk a little bit about more stuff on the watch list. So dollar CAD was another one I wanted to pull up for a moment, and we'll go quick on this one because I've spent some time on it recently. Dollar CAD, clean upward trend, pullbacks could be in order going into this week if you're looking for longs, in my personal opinion. Part of the reason for this is it scores very heavily to the long side in almost all of our categories. Economic numbers favor heavily the dollar over the Canadian dollar. There's an upward trend, as we just discussed. Seasonality, as we went over earlier, we can go through this if we just want to do another quick example. Dollar CAD might be something to pay attention to. So here you go. So dollar CAD, historical bias to the upside in March. We see a little bit of that fall apart in April, so something to pay attention to. Maybe there's a trade in March that could be taken advantage of. So dollar CAD is one idea. EURUSD is the next one I want to take a look at. So I'm short biased on this one. However, the technical chart is not playing nice. So what I mean by that is you've got this little series of higher lows coming into this market. I am still short biased on it, but what I'd be looking for would be some sort of either key level retest, which would be a swing back up into this high, or a breakout to the downside in which we could see lower lows, lower highs, sort of resume their path again. Now, why am I short biased on this one? Well, the chart looks bearish, but there's more to it. As many traders will know, if you watch my channel long enough, I don't pay attention purely to charts. Charts are a way to enter and exit, but they are not the holy grail in my view. I like to use other factors and key assets to find biases that are beyond just a candlestick pattern forming. Not to say that that is not useful information. It certainly can be. It's just that I like to have a more full picture before I go long or short something. So, Let's see. So Euro USD also has a bias to the downside in March. So again, another part of the reason why I am looking predominantly for short setups here. And I also know that at least from retail sentiment, let's go double check this. Euro USD, actually, I take it back. Euro USD about 50-50 from retail traders. So there's not a strong bias there. Institutional data is a bit tricky because you have the euro very heavily long, and the dollar also very heavily long. So there's not a strong bias when picking between the two. So I don't have a lot of interest in particularly going short euro dollar, though overall we get a negative score. So I'd be primarily, if interested, looking to get short. Now, I covered the pound this week in my live streams and such, and I'll reiterate what I was saying there. Basically, we're in a range on pound USD, at least according to the way I look at this. You can see we've got basically just a ping pong effect. What I'm looking for is a break one way or the next. However, my only personal interest would only be on the short side. If we were to break, retest, and continue, I'd be looking for retest sells, looking for that next week. It's not something that's going to form immediately, most likely, so you'd have to wait and see. This is not an immediate setup chart for me, such as perhaps dollar yen is. Despite that, we could take a look at institutional money, and big money is short GBP and long USD. Part of the reason why I am biased to the short side. Pound USD, the only factor that really keeps me also not interested in pound USD is, look at this. Retail traders are crowded into the short side of this trade. 63% of retail positioning going to the sell side on GBPUSD has me a little bit cautious to get there myself. So that's where I'm at with it. Next up, we could take a look at seasonality for the pound. Again, similar to euro, you can see pound USD gets that strong short bias in March, which is interesting data for sure. But again, enough things pointing to a sell side trade to potentially get me into one, but only if we actually break through support to the downside, like we were talking about. If we get some sort of breakthrough, retest, continuation, we have, again, a -7 score overall. That's a strong sell bias for the pound. We'll see what we can get coming into this week. Quick look at the indices, SPX 500. And you can see that we had an impressive breakout. Similar to gold, these two seem to be, their paths are tied, if you will, with gold and the S&P 500 both rallying this past week and really breaking through a key level of resistance. We have to mark this now as possible support going into the upcoming week. Again, a very impressive rally for the S&P 500. And in my personal view, I think you may get a bit more of a squeeze to the upside. Generally speaking, I'm bullish on equities and bullish on indices just from a long-term perspective. However, short-term, we are finally actually seeing some signs that there may be also a case for a bullish setup. Recently, we've seen very bearish charts, and now this is a sign of, hey, something's here, something's happening. We might see a continued expansion, perhaps up into levels of resistance such as 4180, 4160, that sort of thing. I think it's very possible we see a bit of a push back up in that direction and perhaps even continue this bullish trend that we're starting to see on the higher time frames, right? This is a really important higher low that just occurred on the daily chart. Now, again, like I said, it's not truly a confirmed higher low until we start to see a break of this level. You see a break of this level, I think you attract bigger, heavier, longer term buyers to step back into this market. And that could be very, very interesting. So I will look for long setups. Like I said, the Edge Finder is still very hesitant on indices. I've been discussing this past week. Yes, the equities market is rallying a little bit. But we have a downward trend. And one thing that will flip us there, as you can see, if we continue this march up, the trend reading on the Edge Finder will potentially switch back into bullish. Now, it's going to take a couple days of bullishness, starts to get this trend column for those of you who are Edge Finder users or fans or followers or even using the free version. This indicator will usually flip if you have a couple days of bullishness or a couple days of bearishness. So we're getting sell bias, but this score potentially flips back the other direction and possibly even looks bullish in the case that we continue to see upward momentum on the indices. So a very close watch for me going into the next couple weeks is to see if we get that flip back into bullish territory for the US indices. Remember, guys, you can get access to the Edge Finder for a discounted rate if you want access to our software tool that our company builds, or you want want access to our Discord channel where you can see trade alerts from myself and my team, all of that will be linked down below in the description. And I would really love to have some more people in the Discord. We're always looking for more serious traders to join us there. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope that you have a great trading week ahead. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you back next time.